Welcome, Reds, to the 100% United Postgame show. I'm your host, TC, and alongside me, we've got your co-host, Scott. Hello, mate. How you doing? All right?
Bit relieved after that, I'll be honest, TC.
This is going to be a tricky one, mate. My heart rate's still through the roof.
I rolled my ankle a little bit on my celebration, but I'll be all right.
What's your name, Eric Bailly?
Yeah, something like that. Bruno Fernandes after that, mate.
Oh, hello. On today's show, we give our instant reaction to Manchester United's last gasp 3-2 win against Brighton. We'll be bringing you in-depth analysis on Monday, along with United news, transfer rumours, under 18 and 23 reviews too. Now, though, it's all about that win at the Amex Stadium. Bloody hell, we did it the hard way, didn't we?
Unbelievable. I think winning and scoring a penalty after the full-time whistle had already been blown is maybe, and winning a game we probably deserve to lose is maybe the most Man United thing ever.
It was top United stuff, wasn't it? I mean, we'll chat about that last gasp penalty and award later, but you did just bring it up there. The ref had blown his final whistle. Is that legit? I mean, what are the rules? What are the rules surrounding that?
It has to be, because the incident happened in play, right? He didn't blow the whistle before the handball.
But where's the cutoff? I mean, can you do it 30 seconds after the final whistle? 10 minutes? Come on, lads, back out the changing rooms, get back on the pitch. Surely, once that final whistle's gone, I mean, that's it's a strange one to say the least.
No, I think we just saw the boundary of as late as it could possibly be. But I'm not complaining.
No, neither am I. Look, we'll get to all the drama a little bit later on. We'll go through, obviously, the order of events. First of all, the lineup, Scott. De Gea kept his place in goal, Wan-Bissaka, and then Victor Lindelof alongside Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw, Matic, Bruno and Pogba in midfield, and then Greenwood, Martial and Rashford. It's that first 11 that Ollie did so well, the post-lockdown first 11, if you like. What do you make of the lineup? Did you expect to see a couple of different personnel rather than what Ollie chose?
Maybe, but I think that he needed his first 11 this game, right? And I think he's going to revert to this first 11 when he needs the points during this season.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about whether he would possibly play Bruno, Pogba and Donny van de Beek. He won't even play Donny, Bruno and Matic. I mean, that's too attacking for him, isn't it? So, I mean, it's never going to blooming happen. I was pretty surprised that Bailly didn't start, and I was pretty surprised that Donny didn't start ahead of Pogba as well. That bench was a bit crazy as well. You had a couple of defenders on there, Bailly and Timothy Fosu-Mensah, I believe, and then obviously Dean Henderson, the reserve keeper. But then you had McTominay, Fred, Lingard and Donny van de Beek. No Danny James, no Ighalo, basically no firepower bar van de Beek at all.
Yeah, is that a sign? Is he trying to prove something there?
What, that he's chosen the wrong people in the transfer market? He signed Ighalo and James.
No, but
you know what I mean?
Maybe that he needs more firepower, right?
Yeah, I know, but still, I mean, it's weird stuff when you've got a centre forward, you don't put him on the bench, and you've bought a winger yourself, you don't put him on the bench. I know there's rumours that James might be going to Leeds, which would be unpalatable. I think we should be selling to that lot. I said at the start, if this does go south, we're not going to have too many options to come off the bench, and it did go south, didn't it? For a while, first 20 minutes, mate, we were impotent to say the least.
All over the shop, weren't we? Couldn't keep the ball for more than 4 or 5 passes.
No, that front 3 or 4, if you want to include Bruno, just cut adrift, right? I mean, you got that back 4, and then you got Pogba and Matic almost sitting on top of them. It's bizarre to have 6 players back in attack and defence, really. You know, we're passing out from our keeper. We got 4 players behind the edge of the penalty box, and then we got Matic and Pogba just outside the penalty box. No wonder we're not doing anything getting forward. I mean, what are you meant to do from there?
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah. Look, they had a few half chances. Trossard hit the post for not for the first time in the game. Bruno whipped in a cracking ball from the left, lovely whipped cross into Martial. Couldn't quite get onto it in the middle. And
not
then
for the first time for that either.
No, it wasn't. Yeah. And then Trossard hit the post again after 20 minutes. And then Bruno showed his frustration, didn't he, after 22, with a bit of a fiery challenge. On the replay, it didn't look too tasty, but in real time, it was quite a cruncher, wasn't it?
It was out of character for him a little bit.
Yeah, well, he reacts, doesn't he? When I know when Sporting weren't getting the results he wanted, he certainly was there to kick out. And who did he kick out against towards the end of last season? Was it against Chelsea in the cup semi final
Yeah, I think it was.
where he lashed out and you thought no, it wasn't. It was towards the end of one of the games either side of that. I think maybe West Ham. But yeah, he certainly has that bit of fire in his belly. But really, that first 25 minutes, I mean, it was way too easy for them to find space, wasn't it? Like I said, we had all those players back, but they didn't even have to do sort of quick, incisive passing and in too intelligent a movement to find pockets of space. It was worrying stuff.
Yeah, it was exactly like Crystal Palace as well, right?
Yeah. And although we have got the win, that is the big worry, right? I think we've got outplayed today by Brighton, and we got outplayed last week by Crystal Palace, which is, as I say, worrying.
And for about an hour in midweek, we got outplayed by Luton.
Yeah,
Let's
don't
be
push
honest.
it, mate. Come on. Look, there was carnage again on the 25th minute. David De Gea flapping at a cross, just about getting a punch to it. We are bad at set pieces, aren't we, mate? In terms of defending and attacking. I mean,
Awful.
Every time they got a corner or a free kick, I was hiding behind the sofa again. It was just I don't know how we can not improve on it as the months go by.
Yeah, and we give so many of them away so easily as well. I think they have 8 corners, 7 or 8 corners today. It was just relentless at times.
Yeah. And as I say, we had so many guys back. Look, that back four, Wan-Bissaka and Shaw really didn't get forward much early days at all, and a little bit later on, Luke Shaw possibly. But they were hardly getting forward. And then you've got Matic and Pogba so deep. I know you look and people say, yeah, but Liverpool play, 3 midfielders, especially 2 who are pretty deep. But they've got 2 fullbacks or wing-backs, if you want to call them that, who are right up there and they're superb attacking players. Whereas I'd much rather us keep one fullback back, keep Matic back, and then let Pogba and Bruno go forward. Because at the moment, I didn't think Pogba played well at all. But at the same time, he's just wasted back there, isn't he? He does a couple of nice little turns out into space, gives the ball away a couple of times because he's trying to do things from so deep. And I just think you're wasting what was a world record signing.
Yeah, but those 3 players you mentioned there, Luke Shaw, Wan-Bissaka and Paul Pogba, all today aren't fit. They're probably not even 80% fit. Pogba's probably not even 60% fit. But yet they're being played in these very high-octane games. And, those 3 in particular today weren't fit. And it was a poor reflection on how they actually are.
Yeah, I do agree. But then why is Van der Beek on the bench and brought on the 90th minute? That's weird, isn't it? I mean, he is fit. Ollie's come out in his press conference yesterday saying, I think you're doing a disservice to Donny, saying that he's the only signing. He's an absolute superb player. He's going to improve our team, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't pick him for the first game of the season and then brings him on the 90th minute today.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
No. Look, Mason Greenwood did have the ball in the net on the 33rd minute. It was a lovely bit of play, wasn't it? Bruno out to Shaw, Martial, absolutely superb play. It was Rashford who was offside. Did you spot that first time out, or were you up and celebrating?
Well, I kind of spotted it, and then I spotted Marcus sort of putting his hand up and saying sorry. Like he sort of knew he was offside, but he couldn't get back. And then on looking at the replay, he saw he might have been able to get back. It was it was maybe a bit of a delayed ball from Martial, although it was a great ball. He was maybe expecting it a couple seconds earlier, but it was unlucky. Good finish from Mason, though.
Yeah, no, a very, very, very good finish indeed. But yeah, just 5 minutes later, unfortunately, Bruno collided with Lamptey in the box. Do you think it was a penalty, that one?
I do, unfortunately, yeah, I do.
Yeah?
Well,
I tell you what,
we're seeing so many penalties in our games, and they're usually for us, that the standard of what needs to be a foul to be given a penalty for me has dropped. So yeah, that's a penalty for me too.
Yeah, and I did notice though the ref was giving them, right, which makes it much harder to overturn it. He wasn't leaving it up to VAR. He was giving the penalty and then saying, "Oh, is there a clear and obvious reason to overturn this?" I don't know if he hadn't. Put it this way: if the ref hadn't pointed the spot, I'm not sure VAR would have given that. What do you think?
Yeah, that might be a good shout. Yeah.
Yeah. But look, we did. God, does Ollie and Dave listen to the pod? Because I did say let's start behind the line, right? See David De Gea, starting behind the line there.
Yeah, of course he did. Yeah.
Still rooted to the spot a little bit, but yeah. Yeah. Well, what did you say if someone else does a Panenka against us? What were you going to do, Scott? Furious, weren't you?
Furious. I just feel like everyone just mugs us off with these penalties, and then there's celebration as well. I felt he's a proper wind-up merchant, Morpé, and he got what he deserved in the end.
What the crying eyes, Jobby?
Yeah, and you know that.
Yeah, who's crying now, big boy?
Yeah.
Yeah, look, Matic was booked with a little bit of a rugby-style handoff, wasn't it, on the ball?
Yeah, a little bit.
And then
your kind of tackle.
We had the ball. Pardon me?
Your kind of tackle.
Yeah, and then we did get the breakthrough. Bruno with a free kick, pulled back by Matic. Told you Maguire was going to score, didn't I?
Yeah, just about. I mean,
it has actually.
What a ball from Bruno!
Up.
What a ball from Bruno! Unbelievable.
It has been chalked up as a dunk own goal, and I will say, Scott, we always try and be fair, although we're always wearing our red tinted specs. I mean, if you look at VAR there for the finish, Maguire's smashed Dunk's leg in order for Dunk to pop it in, right? I mean, if you're looking at VAR, that's a foul, isn't it?
I'm the one that should be criticising his goals, aren't I?
Well, it's been given to Dunk anyway, so luckily it wasn't the first goal. So don't worry, I've stopped putting cash on anyway, so it doesn't really matter either way. But yeah, look, we went in at half time 1-1. Pretty lucky to be 1-1 at half time. Turgid display, no urgency to take control of the game either, was there? There was no sort of, when we were sort of penned in for 20 minutes, there wasn't that desire to take control of the match.
I tell you, it was a really good test of where we've progressed in the last few months, because a few months ago we went to Brighton and we were 3-0 up after 50 minutes, right? And I mean, the first half we completely blew them out the park, but I think we were much fitter in the restart than we are for this new season. And I don't know, but maybe the last few weeks of the Europa League has made it much tougher for us to get fit for this new season compared to the other teams who weren't in it.
You're right. I think the fitness is definitely down, but the shape's different, right? We're playing the same 11 there, but I remember this last game that we played against Brighton when we won, 3-0. Pogba was much more advanced. He wasn't sitting there in a flat double pivot with Matic all game like he was today.
Well, I don't think Brighton gave us a go last game like they did today. Yeah. Right? We're a boxer on the ropes today, and they were smashing the life out of us.
Yeah, funny you mentioned boxing. I was literally just thinking about ring control. You know, if boxing scoring goes quite often on ring control and how you dominate that centre of the ring, and we just weren't controlling the ring at all. We were getting bashed around it, if anything. But we did have their ball in the net again just after half time, 7 minutes after, and it wasn't. It was after we actually conceded a penalty. From Pogba on Connolly. You thought first off that was actually a penalty, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I mean, there was contact, but if anything, Connolly bought it, right? But on first glance, I thought it was clumsy from Pogba, and I thought it was a penalty. I was so relieved that it was obviously overturned, because we weren't going to come back from that, I don't think.
And we were quite lucky, weren't we, the new regulations surrounding VAR. If that had been the old style VAR, I reckon it would have been tricky for them to overturn it, right? There was contact, the referee's given it. However, with the ref overturning his own decision, he can use his intelligence there and go, look, okay, in real time, I've seen the hand go over the shoulder. Second look, the hand over the shoulder is outside the box. And then Connolly, I think it was, has stepped into Pogba, invited the contact. And it's much easier to overturn it, isn't it? When the ref's looking at his own decision, rather someone else possibly coming in and basically overturning and undermining the ref.
Yeah, you're probably right with the logistics there. I'll take it. However it comes, I'll take it.
Yeah, so the yellow was overturned again, And like I say, it was 5 minutes after that. Rashford had the ball in the net again, and Mason, beautiful little feed and offside. He was quite clearly offside again, wasn't he?
He was, yeah, he was.
He was. But Rashford's confidence up, and 3 minutes later, he did really have the ball in the net. A cracking ball from Bruno deep inside his own half. Rashford twisted and turned. Little deflection into the top corner. But 2-2 for Marcus, and good signs, and exactly what we needed. Marcus Rashford creeping back on form.
Yeah, it was reminiscent of that goal he scored at Palace at the end of last season when we really needed a goal, and he just had the nerve to sort of put two defenders on their backsides and stick it in the net.
Yeah, well, he did. Yeah, he did, didn't he? And he put one of them on their backside twice.
Yeah,
which was pretty tasty.
It was a nice goal.
It really, really was. So 2-1 up, and yeah, I wouldn't say it was deserved, but the front three were much more involved at the start of that second half. Whatever the team talk was, did reap dividends for that first, maybe at least 20 minutes of the second half.
Well, they said at half time that Anthony Martial had only touched the ball 7 times, and 3 of them were in his own half. And so after that, I started counting, and it actually only took until like the 53rd minute for him to get that amount of touches. So yeah, it was good.
Yeah, Martial has been sort of starved a little bit, even the Palace game as well, and this one as well. Of course, when the guys around him start moving and finding him, he's superb. There's a couple of lovely little bits of play from Anthony Martial, but he's isolated at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah, a few of them are playing these games like they're pre-season friendlies, and to be honest with you, they kind of are for a lot of these players, right? And I mean, they do have the feel of pre-season friendly so much that you sort of want to put Pereira in there and he'll maybe score a couple of pre-season goals.
Yeah, the old classics, yeah?
Exactly.
I mean, Quinton Fortune back in the day used to bang him in pre-season as well. And then when it came to real season...
Yeah, Kieran Richardson was another one.
Yeah, you're right.
Always good, yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Look, they had another penalty shout just 3 minutes later. Harry Maguire on Connolly, nothing doing there. And then they hit the post again, the inside of the post this time. It was one of those ones, the angle it hit the post, it looked like it'd go in, didn't it?
Oh, they're just getting closer and closer, TC. I felt it. I had this terrible feeling around the 60th minute of the Crystal Palace game, and I had the same feeling today. And it just felt like we were watching a train wreck, and it was just slowly, and we couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, I had that feeling again towards the end. Look, I mean, it was way too easy to just pass through us, as I say, pretty slowly. There was, take a touch, look at the space, another pass before you know you got a chance. It was the effort we have to put into create a chance in these games, and then the chances we just dish out for fun was a bit shocking. But yeah, Ollie pulled the trigger in terms of substitutions on the 65th. Fred coming on for Pogba and basically going on the back foot. Did you think it was a good sub at that time?
I thought it was a good sub to get. I actually did. Yeah, I do. I think Fred shores up that midfield. I mean, Fred and Matic don't play great together, but I think Fred's maybe the most sure out of those four midfielders we had on the bench, right?
Yeah. It was. You're right. He does shore it up, but it was inviting them on a little bit. And I thought, blooming hell, we were in for a long last sort of 25, 30 minutes here. Trossard was clean down the left again, smashed it against the crossbar. He got his hat-trick, didn't he? Both posts and the crossbar.
I mean, I couldn't believe it. 3 inches away from scoring a hat-trick.
Yeah, we were constantly under fire, and then Eric Bailly came on for Mason Greenwood on the 83rd, went for 3 at the back, and Ollie basically saying we're trying to hold on to this. Again, what do you think? What do you make of that sub?
Well, if you think Fred shoring it up, Bailly shoring it up was another huge sign of that, right? And to take Mason off was maybe the biggest surprise, given that Martial had been pretty ineffective.
Yeah. But just 2 minutes later, Solly marched wide open at the far post, missed with a volley. We were inviting them on. Bailly did his classic Hollywood diving header clearance, didn't he? That was pretty special.
It was, and we needed the right side of the defence for a bit of help. I mean, Wan-Bissaka lost that lost his man so many times in the second half that, I mean, how many chances did they have on the far post, on their left, our right? It was just a huge sign of him not being fit.
Yeah. Look, 90th minute, another sub, Van der Beek on for Anthony Martial. Eric Bailly did a superb block on the edge of the box, Hollywood style again. Trossard had a massive chance. David De Gea saved it almost with like a pelvic thrust, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, a foot either side of him, and it was in, but it was a good save. I mean, thankfully it didn't go through his legs, right? That was the one thing he did prevent.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, luckily it was straight at him. I think we would have all saved that realistically, if you look at it and where it was struck. But positioning wise, he was there, and it was point blank. I thought it was offside to begin with, and then when I looked at the replay, I thought, "Oh, blooming hell, that was close." And then just 2 minutes later, Solly March. They were, mate. It was. I was thinking about that Southampton game at Old Trafford at the end of last season.
Yeah.
And look, 95th minute, Solly March did come in at the far post, heading home. Bruno lost his man there. Bruno, to be fair, was charging around, covering all angles, and he didn't get back there. Possibly should have, and it looked like we're going to have to settle for a point, mate. And this podcast would have been very different if there wasn't another couple of minutes added to the game.
For sure. Absolutely. Well, at 94 minutes, I was sitting there thinking, I can't believe we might come away with this winning the game. I can't believe it. They've hit the woodwork, whatever, 5 times. They've had penalties not given. That's been insane. We've played terribly. How are we going to come away with this? And then bang, they equalised. And oh man, I was, it was shocking.
It really, really was, mate. It was, as you say, it had been coming, but if we had only got 1 point out of this game, added to 0 against Palace, it would have been a really, really shocking start to the season. But we did give it another go. Van der Beek won a corner, and then from the corner, Harry Maguire headed goalwards, cleared off the line. As you say, the ref blew his final whistle, and then all hell broke loose. Mopé it was Mopé, wasn't it, who handled the ball off Maguire. His hand was in an unnatural position. The ref went over, had a look at his monitor, and pointed to the spot. Like we say, it's a weird one with a final whistle there. It was a stonewaller though, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. I mean, you got to say it was like that one in Paris, right? When Delot hit it off Kimpembe.
Yeah.
I mean, after you've seen it and it does hit his hand and his hand's in an unnatural position, and now that they do have video replay, it's got to be given. I mean, a couple of years ago, we're sitting here wishing we had video replay, right? So for all its faults, you got to say that it's bailed us out today, pal.
Oh, it's bailed us out big time. I don't think I've ever been as nervous for a Bruno penalty in terms of, I was just so worried. I know we had the Leicester one, which was monstrous, and we had the ones in the Europa League as well that possibly had more on the line. But it was, we're talking 97th minute here, and I saw an interview in the week where he was saying he might share the duties with Rashford, and he said, look, if I'm a bit tired or if they're confident, then I'm happy to give it over. And I was thinking, bloody hell, he's tired. And he's just told me, look, when he's tired, he's not as confident. And all these things are going off in my head. No hop, especially for you. Top corner, what were you worried about?
You're right. I think that has been his most crucial penalty, to be honest with you. I mean, the Leicester one was massive. The one in the quarterfinal of the Europa League was massive, or even the semi-final was massive. But 100th minute of a game that's already over. I mean, I don't think you can have more pressured circumstances than that, can you?
Will we give him Lindelof's nickname? We'll take that off him and give it over to Bruno.
Yeah, Lindelof is not deserved of that unless he's stuck in ice,
moniker.
And that's what we're talking about. He's like one of those men in frozen ice and he can't move. If that's what we mean by the Iceman.
Muffled cries of "Let me out."
If that's what we mean, then
Bruno, the real Iceman, just sensation. Look, although we were so nervous, there's no one else I'd rather stepping up there. I don't don't know if there's anyone in the world I'd rather stepping up there for a penalty in that situation.
Absolutely not. And I mean, he certainly didn't dribble it in, did he? That was top corner. I mean, and it's the kind of thing that if you can do that, just do that every time. I mean, even if the keeper knows where it's going, he's not saving that. That's unsavable. Unbelievable penalty.
It's true.
But just unbelievable.
It was. But you know what? I think he's on the right road with mixing it up. Keeping the keepers, because even if the keeper did go the right way there, he's going late because he thinks that Bruno's possibly going to do his little wait and see jobby. So yeah, he is just the best penalty taker around. I'm so lucky to have him.
He might also be playing. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. But he also might be playing into the game of, if I miss, the keeper might be off his line and I get to retake it. We haven't even thought about that because he's scored his last 18 penalties and they never have to be reviewed.
Don't worry, mate. I was ready with that in my back pocket. If he missed, I was going to be screaming at the TV, check the line. Because,
can you imagine that might have been even more Man United to have it retaken. Oh.
Yeah, Potter would have been on suicide watch tonight. But look, mate, we got there. Look, we got there in the end. We're all happy and joyous now, of course. But there are still cracks there, aren't there? It wasn't a vintage performance by any stretch of the imagination. There is still big work to be done. I know we still haven't got any more transfers in to bolster that team that finished third last year. Yet, bar the result, there's still massive worries. We're just so buoyant now because, of course, we've just seen a last second winner.
Yeah, let's not forget that we didn't deserve to win this game, and the fact that we're a bit euphoric is the fact that we're surprised that we did. But you've got to say our defence was pretty good last year, and it's not as good. I mean, Wan-Bissaka, he had some good tackles, some good last-ditch tackles, but he was made wanting a lot of his positioning. He was completely out of position for a few of those chances in the second half. I mean, especially the 94th minute equaliser. Where was he? I don't even know. So those are definitely things we have to work on. But I mean, I don't see us. I mean, a left back certainly going to help because Luke Shaw is maybe more of a left centre back now, isn't he? And Lindelof. I mean, I think Bailly's probably better than Lindelof these days, and needs to play more.
Anyone else stand out for you in terms of positive side for United?
For us, Bruno, obviously. I mean, the first goal, what a great cross for the first goal, great assist for the second one, and then just to have someone in your team who you can trust with a 100th minute penalty, is worth almost as much as the faith we had in Fergie, just to get decisions right and make important calls and get them right. I mean, the faith that we had in that is similar to the faith I feel in Bruno now.
Yeah. Does he grab your man of the match?
Of course, yeah. Made it easy, didn't he? I think he would have, even at 2-2.
Yeah, he did. I tell you what, Harry Maguire causing a little bit more problem from the set pieces going forward today.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Maybe I'm onto something after.
And coincides with you stop putting money on him, pal.
I stopped months ago, mate. But you know what I was thinking?
Man of the match?
I'll have to go with Bruno, like you say. Yeah. I mean, I think that assist for Rashford's goal, particularly, I loved from deep. And just look, if you step up in the last minute and bang one in the top corner like that after you've already assisted one and caused carnage for another. And also he was hunting down the ball at 2-1. And I don't think at the moment the system is set up to benefit him at all. It really is not. It's not helping at all. I'd so much rather we go with Matic more central. Possibly, why don't we try Pogba out on the left of midfield and Bruno on the right? Let Pogba express himself from the left. Remember, that was always seen as his optimum position. That sort of left-sided central midfielder, and just see if that helps. He'll of course be getting balls off Matic, off his left, and Bruno can possibly pull out to that right wing a bit more when we don't get that support from Wan-Bissaka going forward. But at the same time, I think I'd have to give it to Bruno, man of the match. You know, one thing I was thinking in terms of the attacking full corners and free kicks, Maguire does get his head on a lot of balls, right? But in general, I know he got it on target at the end. Why don't we mix it up sometimes and put him on the front post for flick-ons? Surely he'd be the absolute perfect man for that. He pretty much always gets his head on the ball and then just to give it a little mix-up.
I don't know if his head is quite the shape to flick it on, though, is it? If
It
you
goes
try
back
and
to
flick
De
it
Gea.
on, it would end up back at the corner taker, right? Do you know what I would? All jokes aside, what I would have loved to see was, I mean, Tony Martial today. You could see he was a bit ineffectual. We had 4 midfielders on the bench. I would have loved to see us bring him off for, say, Van der Beek and try and play a diamond and play 4-1-2-1-2, right, and move Rashford and Greenwood a little bit in because we were pretty ineffective from the wings as well.
Yeah.
And I'd love to just see us maybe try and switch it up a little bit like that as well. And you got Matic holding the midfield, Pogba on the left, Bruno on the right, and Van der Beek on the right, and Bruno or Van der Beek up at number 10. It would be, I think it would maybe add something different. And I think that Greenwood's best position is probably playing inside. He has the just the balls to hit a shot when and wherever he wants. And we sort of need that in the central area sometimes. I think Martial tries to be a bit cute sometimes, and sometimes we just need someone to hit it from 20 yards or hit it first time. And I'd just like to see us do that.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's certainly something's got to give in terms of the fact that we see Rashford and Greenwood having to come back almost into their own half at times to get a sniff of the ball. Mm-hmm. Martial is then cut adrift as the centre forward, and he's not that kind of centre forward, right? He's not that kind of centre forward where he's cut adrift. You ping one up to him, he can head it down, find someone coming from deep. He's that guy who loves to link up, right? And we've got Rashford and Greenwood. They're not wingers. They're wing forwards, right? They're strikers who can play striker and also off the wing as a forward, and they're having to drop so deep that we're not making the most of that. And then Bruno again is not having the players to pick out going forward either. I think something, whether it's the formation in inverted commas or just the starting positions of the players, right, within that formation. But after lockdown, I was quite keen to possibly sometimes try a diamond. And I guess that's one thing to say. Look, it was the same first 11. The fitness is a bit on the down, but at the same time, people are getting wind of how to play against this team. We've put it out so many times. So, I think you're right. We do need to mix it up a little bit.
We do. And if you think about it, I mean, Rashford and Greenwood had the ball in the net 3 times today, and it all came from a centre-forward position, right?
Yeah.
So I think that, I mean, even if you move Martial back to play at number 10 and play, you can play that as a bit of a diamond. But I think, having Greenwood and Rashford hug the touchlines like they do just doesn't work for them.
Yeah, I think unfortunately the only time we're going to see them up top will be potentially, we've got some big games coming up, haven't we? We've got, I think, Chelsea and Arsenal at home in October. We've got Spurs as well. And you might now Ollie's put Bailly on the right of the 3 in defence and put Lindelof on the left. We might see a return to that, mightn't we? Where he plays 3 at the back, and then you've got those two centre forwards roaming. Of course, one of them was quite often Danny James in the big games, but I think you could certainly do Greenwood or Rashford alongside Martial. I think, unfortunately, although I'd love to see what you're talking about, Scott, I think we're more likely to see a 2 in those big games, but it'll be at the cost of 3 at the back.
Yeah, you're probably right. Right. But, I mean, Bailly did more in his 20 minutes that stands out than I think Lindelof did in 90 minutes. Although Lindelof didn't have a bad game, but he's just, you said it a few months ago, he just now looks like a £30 million defender, right? Who's got limits. He's not a defender who really shocks you with how good he is defending. Honourable mention today has to go to Matic. Matic was great.
Yeah, he had such a steal in there. I will say about Lindelof though, look, I agree he didn't do anything that was shockingly out of place today. But he doesn't impose himself, does he? Like Bailly does. At least Bailly's trying to impose himself onto the game, trying to make things happen in a positive way. Whereas with Lindelof, he's a lot more passive. And then when you add in mistakes to that passiveness, then you've got a bit of a disaster. So, yeah, I do agree with that. But look, today we've got the 3 points. If you told me at the start of the game today that we were going to go through all this mayhem and pinch it right at the end and take the 3 points, I would have taken it, Scott, because after last week,
Yeah, me too.
we needed, if we had dropped points today, we are so far off already. And we've basically got a game in hand, which you don't know whether you're ever going to win or lose, do you, until you play it. So if you had offered this to me at the start of the day, I would have taken it. I would have rather we had a cracking display and blew them off the park. But all's well that ends well, I suppose.
Yeah, you're right. And, last season when we lost at home to Crystal Palace, Ollie said, a few months later, that result killed the mood in the whole squad, right? And we went on. We didn't win another Premier League game for 6 games after that. And the defeat we had last week had the opportunity to do the same thing, right? And this was a vital game. And however we did it, we needed 3 points. And sometimes the good teams are measured by the fact that they can go 90 or 100 minutes, play rubbish, and still come away and win.
Yeah, and this might have the opposite effect, right? This might be the kickstart now. That's going to be a nice journey home, isn't it, from the South Coast? If they are even coming home, because as we know now, we're playing Brighton again in midweek in the cup. I hate that, Scott.
Yeah, I know you do.
But look,
we need it. We need something not quite of the effect of that night in Paris, because there's going to be relief to that level, right? That we've managed to win a game from the jaws of not winning it, and but we can't go as mental as we did that day, obviously.
Yeah, look, we got the 3 in the end. Anyway, thanks for joining us again, everyone. Make sure you're subscribed to the 100% United pod, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your pods. Follow our Instagram at United100 Podcast and our Twitter at United100 Pod. We'll be back with our Monday show, more analysis of this game, under 23s, under 18s, United news and transfer rumours on that one. Until then, thanks for joining me again, Scott.
Thank you, TC.
Take care. Cheerio, Reds.
Tara.